With all of the changes coming to this game and the new map, I want you to know the meta, to learn to get your first win, become a better asset to your team. If you got sent this video, listen up, and skip some of the pains of not knowing what is going on when you're getting into it. People always ask me for tips, and while the devs may make changes to the game and the meta may shift, at the end I'll teach you the 3 pillars of the game and ways to recognize and improve your skills that's going to apply no matter what they change on this thing, and is how I still find ways to concentrate on improving. In this battle royale, there's 3 main stages: the early, mid, and late game. Early game is your race to loadout and gearing up. Where to drop depends on what you are feeling. There's not really a wrong answer to it. It depends how you want to play. Although dropping hot with a lot of people is going to be inevitably more dangerous at the beginning. It can as well, though, give you more real practice quickly that can make you a better player. With Urzikstan being such a gigantic map, though, there's a ton of different options on places to land. And in Warzone, you will see the first circle before you're even jumping off the plane of where the gas is going to start. So landing more central of that will give you more time to loot before you have to even deal with the zone, generally better. And while it may initially be slightly more contested with less zone pressure later on, this is also going to mean a more peaceful mid-game, as less people are going to be forced to move through your area. Once landed, you want to prioritize a good gun that is on the ground that you could just instantly land on and be able to defend yourself with, or have the advantage on somebody else who has a pistol and push. That's really the best case. If you don't see one, a box that's going to give you a random gun, not quite as good because you're not guaranteed to get something that you see in front of you. But if you need to fight, that pistol that you spawn with is actually not too bad. Just try not to die, stay alive, move towards your team. If someone near you has a gun or you're outnumbered, try to use that faster movement speed to reposition, drag them into your team for an ambush. If you're solo, try to pull cover, disengage, get further away so they can just take control of the area and loot it, as you really want to save that gulag for later in the mid game. More on this in a bit. And of course, a plate to top your health. One of the most important things in any fight for the duration of the game really is to always double check your health is full. It has happened to me many times where I've forgotten to take a plate and it's lost me fights that I should have won. And I see this all the time in spectate games where I do reviewing random players that I watch. Furthermore, when choosing where to land, loot in specific locations with cash registers. These are always going to guarantee cash. Learning a few good spots can be helpful and keep in mind whenever you find one. If you want to land safer, go to an unmarked location, but strongholds are really going to be the hottest of hot drops. Now in Urzikstan as well, these don't spawn in every game either. If you do see them and capture it though, it is guaranteed loadout, giving you a massive advantage at the start of the game because these are your own custom guns that you've built while everybody else is running around with pistols or whatever else they can find. The strongholds also have quite a bit of cash and give a free local UAV once capped. If someone else caps it and you see a red ring around it, stay out of it because you're going to be on that radar. The first team to capture it will also get a key that they can use for a black site. More on this as well in a bit too. Note though, once a team leaves a stronghold, you can capture theirs. Often they're going to go leave for that black site. This will give you control of that UAV as well as a loadout, but of course, it's not going to drop another black site key. You will also see abandoned strongholds. These are marked on the map and guarantee white box loot as long as that icon is there. These white boxes will give you a lot of cash and are the best to find outside of the blue ones, which will give you your favorited loadout guns. Good to keep an eye out for. Abandoned strongholds are a little less contested since they don't give you a loadout. Similarly, many people choose to land at contracts right away for cash, but usually these are done a little bit more in the mid game. No matter where you go though, get cash, get your loadout, and kill those people without it. Because early game technically will end at Zone 2's lock when free loadouts come in. Every team has their own designated loadout. It'll always drop within 120, 150 meters of you. And if you haven't managed to secure one yet, that is the time. Mid game then is all about preparing for the end game. And if you're good enough, being so ready that you have extra resources to pop UAVs and bounties to go thin out the competition. But what is the end game preparation? Once you have your loadout, contracts are a great way to get cash as well as extra bonuses. Intel missions give you zone peak, telling you where the next zone is going to close. Doing this at the beginning of the game to give you zone 2 doesn't give you that much information versus if you can figure out where zone 5, 6, or even 7 are going. So doing these later are better, but of course more dangerous as a flare pops up in the air when you start it. Scavenger contracts are also back into the game. These are going to drop armor upgrades for you. Bounties, of course, will mark another team for cash, but big game bounties are also back, which will mark the team with the most kills in the lobby, and if you can successfully kill them, will activate an advanced UAV for you and, of course, give you a bunch of extra cash. Advanced UAVs go through Ghost, but not stealth vests, which is one of those armor upgrades. And while the advanced one is popped, they'll know the direction that you're facing as well, so be careful. The biggest advantage you can get in the mid game, though, is a black site. And while strongholds aren't going to be in every game anymore, there still will be ways to find keys for this spawning around the map. If you get a black site key from that or even a player that you kill, once you pick it up, it'll reveal the location of that black site to whoever has the key. Once it's opened, everybody on the map will know, though. So be ready to get pushed and make quick work in there because you need to kill a juggernaut in order to claim the site. Even if another team rolls up and gets just the killing blow on that thing, they will get claim of the site. Another reason to be fast. Killing the jug will give you a giant UAV around that local area that cannot be captured by anybody else after you. Typically drops redeploys, more on this as well in a second, an advanced UAV with a bunch of other goodies, including even more white boxes inside. It'll give you a lot of power for the end game. Outside of that, even just running around and looting can be very helpful, though. You want to acquire as much cash as you can because you can spend that however you want at buy stations. This is also where, of course, you could buy a loadout if your free one is too dangerous. But you're looking for durable gas masks, self-reses, UAVs, airstrikes, plates, ammo boxes, everything that you need so you don't need to worry at the end game. Then with the extra cash, pop some of the UAVs now to try and clear your spot of the zone out, or use it to help you rotate and move to a more ideal position. During zones 3 and 4, you're looking to move towards height and central zone, preferably something with cover, a position that you can control and defend so when zone 5 closes, you don't have to go too far. Dying at any point during the early or mid game will send you to the gulag, a 1v1 fight against someone else who also died, but this is what's new. An ascender that drops down into the middle of the map in overtime if nobody dies. You can zip up it and shoot while on it, as well as, of course, be shot at while you're trying to go. Killing the other person or sending all the way out will bring you back to life. After you've been there, keep an eye out for a token because you can get another entry in there in case you die again. Although you can only have one of these at a time and you can't carry them. There's also a redeploy token which will completely skip the gulag and instantly bring you back, but they're quite rare. And warning, if you ever kill somebody and immediately hear enemy flying in, this could be that person coming back to try and get some revenge. If you do come back, though, you are going to be at a big disadvantage, so try to regain quickly or just use what you have and clutch out. But this brings us to everyone's real struggle, the end game. Zone 5's close brings the zone size down a lot. Fights will be inevitable, if not already, very soon. And positioning is now going to be worth way more. Being in a building center zone could mean you just relax in one spot while everybody else is killing each other as those circles close and the hiding places go away. Those at the edge of zone must move or be forced to cough in the gas, giving their position away, or of course just die to the zone. The gulag closes at this time as well, so there is no more coming back unless purchased or a red flare shot up by a teammate. That will bring you back instantly. But especially solos after Zone 5, you need to be much more careful with more density and no coming back. Shortly after that lock and close of the gulag, another free care package will also come in. Last minute people exiting the gulag or rezzers may try and instantly dive that. Do not let them regain. With a smaller zone and more people in it, it is much more likely you're going to be running into people. This is when you want to start utilizing smokes to cross even a road that earlier in the game you would have not even thought about. You will not always have options though, and the better decisions that you can make with what you have, the better. Often though, just choosing a plan and working together, especially in team modes, and then sticking to it is better than being unorganized or bouncing between different ideas and different people yelling what to do, even if it's not the best decision that you could have made. This is where you even more so want to use UAVs to rotate, secure a kill to control a powerful building. The more intel that you can get of where teams are positioned, the better decisions that you can make. With that, use the number of players that are alive in the top right and hearing and listening to gunshots movement to even process of eliminate where the other players must be located from there. And once you've got that down in a top 3, 4, even 5 situation, you don't even really need to have a UAV or go for additional loot. You can start making plays for the win. In general, for positioning though, you want more options rather than less. When you're pinned at the edge of zone and forced to move or die to the gas, that's mate. But if you have multiple decisions, you might be in check, but you can find a way out. I talk about high ground and center zone because this gives you more options. Playing height allows you to control the aggression of the fight, meaning that whenever you want to, you can peek down and engage. If you take too much damage, you can go prone, slow the fight down, or even dive in and try and get a finish. You have the options in the situation versus the person that's looking up, waiting to react to whatever the person above does. Note though, once you get to zone 7 or 8 and the zones start to pull, meaning completely out of the current zone where everybody in the whole zone has to move, being too high can be worse as it forces you to move and pull your parachute to avoid fall damage, making you an easier target, although they did add a new Mountaineer perk, reducing your fall damage and could be very interesting. Typically, at this time though, low ground and early rotations are better, especially when a lot of people are alive. A lot can go wrong though at the end, like airstrikes, redeploys, buybacks, but in general, these are all going to increase your odds, especially if your current strategy is sitting in a corner and hoping to be the third person that's last up the third party in, which is also worth mentioning. Once you are into the top 3, this is when you have the most opportunity to win. If the other 2 people are fighting and you can position yourself to clean up the weak winner of that bout, this is the essence of third partying. But that doesn't always work out, and it often comes down to a 1v1, and this is where you have to know how to fight. Know the resources that you have available. Don't worry about looting at this time. Go with what you got. Find an opportunity. It is time to win. It's the only way to do it. The other guy has to die. Stay calm and end it. The beauty of this game, though, and these massive maps, is each one is very different, and this is where experience is king. While this will set you up for success, I want to outline the 3 pillars of the game to help you improve further on your own skills. This will take an honest self-reflection to see where you are at. My best advice is to record your games and watch it back to see where you need to focus on improving within these 3 areas. First is aim and accuracy. This is probably the most obvious. If you're on mouse, there's some great aim trainers that are free like Aim Lab. My other recommendation, which includes controller though, that I have spent a lot of time on personally, is setting up a private match in multiplayer against recruit bots and practicing. Do drop shots, jump shots, slide cancel into kills, focus on headshots. If you're training assault rifles or other guns with spray, increase the health of the targets to 300 so that it matches full health targets on Warzone. Personally, I like to do this before streaming for the day, get at least 100 sniper headshots to warm up. You can also do this in the firing range, which is a free option, but those targets also are not moving. Better yet, you can go into Plunder, although a little more difficult to directly practice aim there, but it will give you a lot of quick battles to practice, if especially you don't have multiplayer. As good as you can hide at the end game, if you can't aim and fight, you're only relying on luck, it is going to be far more unlikely to win. Which brings me to the second point: strategy and map knowledge. This is knowing when to shoot or stay quiet, when to push or hide. While you do die very fast in this game, it is not instant. Something I talk about a lot is health leads. If you can land enough shots and a few plates off or even full crack somebody, you typically want to push that, depending on how far away you are, because if you try to push and they can heal fully by the time you get there, you're going to be back on an equal playing field. But if you've got him at half health and you both draw your guns at the same time when you push around that corner, you're going to win it. Maybe his gun has a faster time to kill, 500 milliseconds, and yours is 700. So normally you'd lose, but with his health down half, you only need 350 milliseconds to win. Of course, all things equal, and you're actually aiming correctly. But even with that, you have room to miss a couple. This is why I always talk about aggressive players usually do much better in this game. You see a lot of high kill games and snowballing from really good players. And also why I mentioned having full plates is so important. And exiting a fight to find plates is a very good idea. This isn't multiplayer where you're just going to respawn. How to engage and move yourself in fights is also part of the strategy. The more jump spots that you know to traverse the map can mean more routes to cut people off, or if you're in pressure, routes to take while sprint plating to reset your health and engage back on equal footing, or taking cover behind a corner and then jumping out at him when you are low health to catch him off guard. He's in tac sprint gut up. It's going to take even longer to get aimed down sight. You can get another 100 milliseconds back just by doing that. Study the map as you play, realize positions in kill cams, and even from others' gameplay, where do you see them controlling and playing height, especially early in the game before people know spots. It's going to be helpful. And finally, the third thing is reaction time. Especially in solos, I think this game is one of the scariest to play because it can go from 0 to 100 in less than a second. The jump scares on this are worse than pretty much anything I've played. The more alert that you are, scanning and expecting people to be in buildings or bushes though, the better. Maybe this aspect is even within aiming, but pre-aiming can save you time on your reaction time. Putting your crosshair where people typically are, already having it in doorways, head shoulder height rather than on the floor or looking at a wall, saves you time to get onto target. Some people may naturally have better reaction times, but I know the biggest struggle, especially at the end of battle royales for many people, including myself at the beginning, was just pure panic and pressure. Even though I had a fast reaction and it was to jump out of my chair a little bit, pop up a menu and freak out. Still happens from time to time. The best thing that I can say for this though is repetitions. Play some Resurgence where it's easier to get to the end game because you just keep on respawning. Then once you get past Zone 5, there's no more respawns. Treat it like it's a regular battle royale and focus on just gaining experience and building your confidence there. As much as I could just tell you to take it easy, treat it like it's the beginning of the game, play how you normally do. The real difference is going to be your time spent there. By recording your gameplay and looking back at it, you will quickly realize which of these 3 areas that you need to work on the most, and making conscious steps towards improving that will significantly help you, as will my videos. Seeing the moves that I make and incorporating it in my gameplay, and even other pros or competent players will help. That's how I got much better watching others. So make sure you're subscribed. I put a lot into this, as well as the 10 biggest changes they did to Warzone. I detailed it'll help you with some of your strategy. So give it a like if you appreciate it. And if you even want more gameplay examples, subscribe to my second channel, Stone Mountain Plays. Tons more content on it. Even stop by my lives every weekday over on Facebook, 10 a.m. Pacific. That's for this one though. Thanks so much for watching.